the system of equations. We must deal with them all at once. Always looking for solutions. Positive outlook overcomes obstacles getting in our way, cause affects more than we can sometimes see. Things for what they
Hello, my name is Roy Simpson, professor of mathematics at Cosumnes River College in Sacramento, California. Now, this video you're about to see is one of my older videos. The quality is not the same as my new video series. My intent is to make a newer version of this video at some point in the future. However, I want to make sure that students currently using my Mathematics in Review video series have access to as much help as possible when it comes to prerequisite topics. With that being said, let's get started. So let's try an example that has a different kind of formula to it. Let's see, we have a business that wants to attract more customers and get rid of their stock of paint. And they decide to raise the price. So let's say 6 months ago they raised the price, and now today they offer 25% off sale. Or maybe let's say 6 days ago they raised the price and then offer 25% off sale. This tactic has been used in the past. So by what percent must they raise their original price of a gallon of paint so that it will again be $30 after the 25% discount? In other words, they originally have a $30 price tag on that paint, and they're going to increase it by a certain percentage, and then a couple days later say, hey, look, we'll give you 25% off of that, and actually sell it for 30 bucks, which was their original pricing. So, and then I have a little hint here, what's the price they raise it to. So first of all, we've read the problem. We understand what's going on, hopefully. Second thing that we need to do is, let's see, it says by what percent must they raise their original price of a gallon of paint? So by what percent? So that tells me I'm looking for a percentage rate of increase. So let me let R equal percent markup. That's before they're going to give you the discount. Third thing we're going to do is build some expressions or equations. And I give you this hint, what's the price that they raise it to? Let's start this out and see what happens. And perhaps the best way to approach this is maybe to use a little bit of logic. The first thing we're going to do is mark up. So we'll have some type of equation or expression for that. Then after they mark it up, they're going to mark it down, right? That's the discount. That's the sale. They mark it up prior and they mark it down after. So let's talk about how to do this. As an aside, let's say that you have a $100 shirt that you're going to mark up by 10%. I choose these numbers on purpose. What is the new price? Now, a lot of people are very quick with this because they're easy numbers. They say it's $110, right? But the question is, how did you get the $110? Oh, some people say, well, 10% of 100 is $10. But that's not how you got $110. The way you got $110 is you said, oh yeah, 10% of that $100, but that's $10. That's not 110. So you found out what that was and you tacked it on to that $100. So you had this old price, you added to it the percentage rate of that old price, and you got a new price. And so the new price here would be $110. That's kind of an important method, I suppose. You should always remember that if you're not sure how to do something, make the numbers easier, something that you can handle in your brain. So now, suppose instead that the shirt was 37 bucks, and they marked it up, let's go for 8%. To find the new price, well, it was 37 bucks, right? And you tack on to that old price of $37, 8%, but not just 8%, because that would be a funny statement. You're just $37.08. That doesn't make sense. So it's 8% of $37. That should be your new price. Now that I've started that, I have to actually finish it to find out what the actual price is. So let me go ahead and do that. What is it? 37 plus 0.08 times 37, 39.96. Okay, I had to do that just because I have to finish problems. So that's how you figure out markups, is that you have an old price plus percentage of the old price becomes the new price. So let's go ahead and do that. The markup here, we have this old price, and we're going to do a certain percentage of the old price to become the new price. All right, well, let's see. The old price here was 30 bucks plus, we don't know how much we're going to mark it up, right? So that's just going to be R. That's our percentage that we're marking up, but we still know the old price is 30. And we have no idea, actually, they didn't tell us what the new price is, did they? No, so I'm just going to say that equals some new price. Sad but true, that's the way it is. So here's one equation. Now we have to deal with the markdown. So let me go ahead and talk about the markdown. Again, on the same sheet of paper, because I think that it's important to see this. So let's say you have a $100 shirt again. Again, I'm using nice numbers, and you mark it down by 20%. Well, the new price, what is it? If you have a $100 shirt and it's marked off 20%, well, everybody or most people know it's going to be 80 bucks. And you ask why, and they say, well, 20% of 100 is 20. Well, that's not why. You had a shirt that was 100 bucks and it lost 20% of that 100 bucks. Notice how that worked. Markups, you're adding, markdowns, you're subtracting. That should make sense. That comes out to 80. And so if you had, let's say, a $37 shirt and it got marked down by 8%, well, then it started at 37, but you're losing 8% of that 37. Now, I can't leave that alone again because it's just too tempting to finish that out. So let me figure it out. Let's see, 37 minus 0.08 times 37. Notice these look exactly the same except for the plus and the minus. One's a mark up, one's a mark down. 34.04. $34.04. Well, that makes sense, I guess. That seems to make sense to me. So let's use that logic here. By the way, it means that to figure it out, what a markdown is, you take the old price and you're going to lose a certain percentage of that old price to become your new price. Oops, there should be an equal sign there. So the markdown, we have some old price. Well, wait a second. It's just been marked up, right? So this new price, they're going to save that price for a day or two, and then they're going to say, hey, we're going to mark it down from this new price, right? So they're going to take that price and they're going to mark off a certain percentage, and they told us what percent they're going to mark off. They're going to mark off 25% of that price. And this, they want, after that markdown, they want it to result in $30. Now this is a tough problem. This is not one that's very common. But I want to show you kind of, because most people say, well, they mark it up by 25%, so that when they mark it down by 25%, it's back to $30. But it's not true. So here we go. I have this word. It's the new price. That's what we're going to insert in there. Well, we have two equations, right? And if you remember from elementary algebra, if you have two equations, you need two unknowns. And I do have two unknowns, r and new. New is okay as a variable. That's fine. It's a picture, isn't it? So we'll go ahead and instead of writing the word new there, we'll replace it with this picture, 30 plus 30r, right? Isn't new the same as 30 plus 30r? From that, we're going to lose 25% of new, which is 30 plus 30r. And that will equal 30. I'm just stealing this equation right here and inserting, instead of using the words new here, I'm inserting, for these words new, the expression, this is the left-hand side of this equation. So in this equation, how many unknowns do I really have? I mean, how many different variables do I have? In reality, I only have one. I have r's. I'll highlight them for you. There's an r right there. There's an r right there. There's two r's, but the fact is there's one. It's just once we get them together, there's only going to be one of them. So we'll clean this up, clean up each side, minus, and then I'm going to distribute this 25% here. I think that it's going to be 7.5. And remember, the negative also distributes, so it's going to be a negative 0.25 times 30, and another negative 0.25 times a positive 30r. So that's also going to be a negative 0.7 or 7.5r. Combine like terms. So let's see, 30r minus 7.5r is a 22.5r, and then a 30 minus 7.5 is again a 22.5. Subtract the 22.5 from both sides. And this is just, now I'm kind of speeding up because I know how to undo or untie the knot, right? So I'm just going to subtract 22.5 first. And then finally, I'll divide both sides by 22.5. And remember what I've said in the past, that this is not proper to write your answer as a fraction with decimals within it. You must grab a calculator and use the calculator to change this. 0.333 on forever. So in other words, this is roughly equal to, well, actually maybe I should just say it's exactly equal to 0.3 on forever. Now what does that mean? Well, we found out what r is. It's the markup. They were asking, what's the markup? Well, r is 0.3 on forever, or in other words, a 33.3% markup. Now that's counterintuitive, isn't it? You have to mark it up by 33 1/3%, so that when you get a 25% discount, you're back at the original price. Interesting, isn't it?
Thank you for watching this review video. As I mentioned previously, it's an older video that will eventually be updated. However, it should get the job done for you. As always, this content should be prerequisite to the course in which you're currently enrolled. If you found this material unfamiliar or if it was confusing to you, then I recommend you review any prerequisite material mentioned in the video. If you find you're continually having to research the prereq material here, you might want to consider speaking to your instructor about other course options. On that note, I sincerely hope these videos help you achieve success in your transfer level math and science courses. Cue the music.
It's the system of equations. We must deal with them all at once. Always looking for solutions. Positive outlook overcomes obstacles getting in our way. Cause affects more than we can sometimes see. Things for what they are and work together until you feel at peace. Listen close, don't talk too much that isn't kosher. You may really hurt inside. It doesn't justify you to speak too loud and cry.